can't say I'm getting emotional, but I know I've done my best for him. We've achieved what we needed to achieve for him, because at the hospital the doctor said he would never walk, he would never do anything. When I first met him, he was laid in a cot and all he could do was just twiddle his fingers. Said he would never walk.
Hi and welcome to BB Shop Pod, and in today's episode we've got an individual that I've known a long time. She's a mum to one of my friends, but without going into too much detail, because I want Christine to tell me instead, I just like to say not all heroes wear capes, and for us, Christine is one of those individuals. So welcome, Christine, to our show. It's BB Shop Pod. We just want to get an essence of the customers we serve, the everyday people, the individuals, and you're one of those, I think, great individuals that have done a great service, but the service you've done has to come from a special person as well. So first tell me who you are, Christine, and we'll move on.
I'm Christine Bullock. I've been a foster carer for 34 years. I've got 3 sons of my own, I've got grandchildren, and I've lived in Pontefract for 38 years.
And of those 38 years, how long have you been in this area in Love Lane?
We moved here in 1986.
So you as an individual first, Christine, I'd like to start. All your schooling life has been in this area?
I lived in North Featherstone growing up, and then I went to Normanton Grammar School for my high school, and then I left, and then I started work.
No problem. And your first job was?
I was a wages clerk at Wilkinson's Cabinet Works down Monkhill.
And how long did you do that for?
I did that for 2 years, and I always wanted to do nursing, so I started nursing when I was 21, and I qualified. I did my training 73 to 75, and then from 75 to 1980, I was a state and road nurse at Pontefract Infirmary.
So caring's been very much part of your life, hasn't it? Yeah. Is it something you've enjoyed doing?
Yes, very much. It has its ups and downs, but I think the reward is, like when I was nursing, you're seeing people getting better and going home. With the fostering, some of the children have gone back home, others have been placed in other foster placements, but to know that you've helped them to move on and to have some, even if it's only for a week, some stability in their life, it does help them, and I think they do appreciate it.
So just rewinding back, you as a person, just to get a feel of who you are, how long have you been with your husband Les?
We've just been married 45 years in June this year. We met, he came to be a taxi driver at Ross's at North Featherstone. When he first came for a job, it was, no, we don't need any drivers. And then he came back 6 weeks later, and Mary, who owned the business with her husband, said, yeah, we need some drivers. And he started taxi driving. And then after a couple of years, we started going out with each other. And then we got married in 1979.
No problems. And from there, you proceeded to have 3 children of your own?
Yep.
And their names are?
David, Paul and Adrian.
And their ages now are?
44, 43 and 38.
She did well to remember them. I'm sure she remembers them all. With having your 3 own children, what spurred you on then to sort of say, let's take, being a father myself, I got my hands full already with my own children, never mind taking anybody else on board. But at what stage did you have all 3 of your children and then start fostering, or was it in between, or did it? When did that come about?
We had David first in 1980, and then Paul in 82, and Adrian arrived in 87. And then in 1990, there was a television advert or programme on television, Find a Family, and it was about fostering children. So we inquired, because it was done through Wakefield Council, so we inquired and went down to Queen's Hotel in Pontefract, and they had like a big meeting. We all met together, and if you were interested, and then they did like an interview, and then we started the process then of wanting to be foster carers.
I know just the initial instinct of wanting to make a difference in caring for people that was in probably a vulnerable state.
Yeah. And some children, it was just for the parents to have probably just a break. So they called it like a respite. So we'd have some children and we did some respite. Um, we had one little boy, he was a respite, he came from Nottingham, the first one we had. And we had him on respite for nearly 2 or 3 years. Every once a month we'd have him for a weekend. And then it progressed from there for the fostering side itself. We got emergency placement, little girl. She was a week before her fourth birthday, and we adopted her when she was 9. And then, unfortunately, when she was 14 and a half, it broke down. But we did what we had to do.
There's no doubt, Christine, it's an emotional job what you do.
Yeah.
It's easy to sometimes just go to a Monday to Friday somewhere and do your job without being invested in it emotionally. But certainly what you do is it's something that pulls on your heartstrings, and no doubt you're invested in it completely emotionally. So that's why I say some heroes don't wear capes, but you certainly are one of these individuals that is a hero to me. Having seen you over all these years and seeing how loving and caring you are, it needs a certain makeup of the individual. I don't think I really very rarely hear you complain or or not be happy, because you have to have that smile on your face, especially when individuals come in looking for smiles, aren't they? They've probably gone through a lot of their lives without that little bit of happiness. And you don't want to come into from a dark room to another dark room. You need to come into a brightened area, and you certainly have offered that for these individuals. I mean, how many have you fostered up to now?
We've had, over the years, 17 different people, children. As I say, they range from, well, the youngest we had, he was just a year old when he came, and he's just actually left us now to go live in a supported living, and he's 29.
So, and how old was he when he came again?
He was, when we first came to us, he was 1. He went home when he was 2, but we had him on respite for his mum, and he got a brother and a sister as well.
Yeah.
And then when he was 4, something happened at home, so he went back into the care system, and his sister said, "Has anybody told Christine and Les?" The social worker then looked in the file, because he lived in Bradford originally, and they found out what we'd put in a letter to say if his mum couldn't cope because she had a disability, that for him to come back and live with us, which we still had him on respite 4 till 7, but he came back to live with us when he was 7, and he's just left now and he's 29.
So that wasn't really respite. That was somebody. That was the individual being part of your family.
Yeah.
And for having him pretty much from 1 to 29. All right, there was a break between 1 to 7, but you'd known him since birth.
Yes.
And all the way to now, and he's gone to respite. There's been a lot of challenges with something like that as well, hasn't there, Christine? Yeah. And again, hats off to Christine, because this individual's of a different cultural background, a different faith.
Yeah.
And one thing that you've always made sure that he's always stayed connected to that aspect of him. So he's stayed connected to his roots, but that's testament to you to make sure that he has. Because when someone's 1 to 7, they're very impressionable, I feel. And you can have your own life, workings of life, instilled into that person, but you never did that. You made sure you still stayed connected.
Yeah.
So you were telling me Les took him to mosque and everything like that?
Well, I used to take him to mosque 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because he was disabled, he was born with club feet, learning disability, he was tube fed. And when he started going to the mosque, some of the children there made fun of him. And the decision was made a lot more on my part that he didn't need to go to be bullied.
Yeah.
I didn't need that, because his understanding was not as well developed as ours. And I just thought we can do things with him at home and keep his cultural things and his interests up. We still saw his mum and his siblings. We go to see them, they come to our house. His sister and brother would come and have sleepovers at ours, and they still do now. And one's 31 and the other's 26. And they still come and have this contact, and we phone each other and meet each other for Eid and Christmas and birthdays. And I just thought it was important that he kept his cultural things up. And he also has a PA He's known since he was 14. Plays a big part in his life. He has him once a week and he goes out with him. So he's still got his cultural identity as well, which is important in my eyes.
No, I think very much so. I keep on repeating myself, but it's just worth repeating for it's all right sometimes getting invested in something like this and being emotionally attached because it's not just like a normal 9 to 5. It's not even a job for me. It is your life.
Yeah.
But with that, taking on board somebody else's cultural background and making sure that you're still keeping that takes a lot of effort. And you've managed to sort of do that, and that's what's wonderful about it. It's easy just to say, well, this is how things work in my house, and that's how you do things, but you've just instilled everything, you've taken everything on board, and it takes a particular human being like yourself to do that. So, again, hats off to you, Christine, on that. But coming to nice 29, did you say?
He's 29 now, yeah.
Obviously, you've spoken to me when we've been in the shop that you're not as young as you used to be, although Shelley looks about 40, I know, yeah. But it comes a time where he needs to sort of learn to be independent because you said to me before privately, you're not going to be here forever.
That's right.
And how have you found that process?
Difficult. Maybe. I can't say I'm getting emotional, but I know I've done my best for him. We've achieved what we needed to achieve for him because at the hospital, the doctor said he would never walk, he would never do anything. When I first met him, he was laid in a cot and all he could do was just twiddle his fingers. He said he would never walk. Within a year, he was shuffling about. He had to have 2 operations on his legs because he got bilateral talipes, which was inverted feet. So he had operations on his feet. He was tube fed because he was a failure to thrive. And they said he would never do anything. Yeah, they went in hospital, stayed in hospital and not being off, but vegetated, or he went into a home somewhere. And I said, no, if we can manage, we will manage him. And he came to us within a fortnight of me meeting the doctors and having a meeting with the social work team. He's had operations since on his feet. And as I say, he's just developed and his character is just unbelievable. He's funny. He can be a little bit, mum, have I got to, even at 29. But he's got his own abilities that he likes to do. He goes watching films, he goes to Comic Cons, he goes going to cinema, he likes karaoke.
And let me just be clear here, he likes to drag Christine along with him
Yes,
as well.
I go to London 3-4 times a year. We go to Comic Cons. We know the hotel very well, and most of the staff there know us now. But we go all over to Comic Cons. We've been to London, as I say, a few times. We've had lovely holidays, and we've just been to America because he wanted to go to Disney World in America. One of his achievements, and we did that this year. And we've done all kinds of different things with him on holidays.
So, I mean, like you say, it's difficult, but a process that you must go through with. It's easy to sort of get to a certain age with individuals when they become adults, but to still be with you at 29, you've done as much as you can, and I know you'll continue to do as much as you can as well.
Yeah.
That's who you are as a person. You're loving, you're caring, and you're all those adjectives. You're a superb human being. How was it with your own kids there though, Christine? Did you find as though that they didn't get the full amount of attention, or was there the right balance? And how did the kids get on with the foster children coming in as well?
I think David and Paul, they were a little bit older. David was 10 and Paul would be 8 when we started fostering. Adrian was 3. So David and Paul, they got on mostly with most of the children that were in. If there were any problems, we'd sit and say, what's your problem? They'd play with them, we'd go places. We used to go on holidays. We had a caravan at Primrose Valley, and there'd be 8 of us going to Primrose Valley in a van and having weekends and a week in a caravan at Primrose Valley. And they all enjoyed it. And even where we are now, where we live now, some of the children that we've had over the years, they're still now keep in touch, some of them on Facebook, and I liked it when I was at your house. I remember playing on this swing, and I remember doing this, and I remember doing that. And some of them have passed, and and we've got quite a few who actually live around where we are, and they've said to us, "You don't swear when you pass Christine and Les's. They looked after me when I was little, so you've got to respect them." And I think because they've done that, and we've done what we've done, we've taught them manners, behaviour, and respect. And I think that's what most of them give us back now. As I say, the boys sometimes they have the moments, but they have the moments being brothers.
Yeah.
So, and I think they're just an extended family.
I expected that answer from you, though, actually, Christine, because you know when you've got a good mum, doesn't matter how many children you have, because it's the case of that good mum knows how to handle her children.
Yeah.
And that's, like you say, when stern but kind, all that mixture comes from the good place. And then that respect comes as well automatically. You know, what you just mentioned with individuals, don't swear in front of their house or anything. It's something that they remember of how you was with them. And it's respect that comes through, isn't it? Yeah? Respect / love.
Yeah.
And that's what you have. In amongst all this, how's Les been with it all? You know, when you first thought, was he supported from day one that, yeah, this is a good thing to do?
Yes, he was. Yeah. As I say, when we saw the advert, we just went down to Queen's Hotel, and he was as interested then in finding out about finding family. But originally, I think Les thought it was like you go to a children's home, and if it was a child in a children's home, to give them a home, rather than say not in the wrong term, but bringing somebody off the street, as it were. He thought it was meant to be find a family for someone who was in a children's home, not necessarily like a child from somebody else's family who were having difficulties. And then that's how it started. So, and he's so laid back. He can have his moments, but he's so laid back. He's, he'll meet himself coming forwards kind of thing. And but if he had anything to say, they got the discipline, but not in a harsh way. It was, you know what I mean? Right, we're doing this now. And we've had a few moments over the years with different people, different children we've had in.
But that's the perfect combination, though, isn't it? When you can have an understanding surroundings, partners, especially for what you do, for them to support that. And I know Les, again, a hero in himself, you see, that you just gone about it not wanting, Blue Peter badges, for those who remember Blue Peter or anything like that, you've just done it because out of love and care. And believe me, some people say, well, the wage at the end of it, or whatever, well, there's easier jobs, let's put it that way, and to be emotionally invested in something is just not easy. And like I say, when you had your own children, it's that aspect as well of bringing into that fold. But when you've got a good mum and a good dad, I think, like I say, you could have looked after 100 and fed 100, I think, quite easily, because that's the kind of human being you are. Moving on, you've looked after so many people and you've done a great job. You're now getting to the age where obviously Wazim's moving on, and you're going to feel an emptiness.
Oh, yeah. It's strange because we've never not had anybody in the house for 45 years. We've had our own children, but we've had other children in as well. And even with grandchildren, we've 5 grandchildren, and they come and have weekends. So we've never actually been on our own since the day we got married, as it were, till David came along. And then that's been it, 45 years of always having somebody in the house.
Are you tempted to just keep all the grandkids at home and say, are you happy to hand them back now?
It's nice to hand them back. It's to live away from us anyway. One lives in Eastbourne, the other lives in Bolton, and our middle son, he ain't got any children anyway. So, but it's nice to have them, but it's nice when they've gone home, because you can get back and think, right, I can put my feet up again, because I think now at that age that you need to have some time and relax and do things that you haven't been able to do. Not through any fault of anybody else. It's just because we've done what we've done.
And that's excellent that you're ready to now sort of relax slightly. You can't get away from it completely though, no. Christine. But you've done great for the community of Pontefract, wider. You haven't looked at any individual case with any kind of prejudice or anything like that. We prefer that. Yeah. It's been whoever's needed help, we've been ready to help. And I know a couple of individuals around here, troublesome families that you've taken on board. And it's probably easy to say, not them, not that one. But then that defeats the object of what you're trying to do. You're trying to welcome individuals that have not been in the great space and show them that life can be great. and can be good in the right surroundings, the right people around you, and hopefully they've learned that for years after that. Not everything about life is bad. It can be good. It can be colourful. It just need the right ingredients. And you, Christine, and Les, David, Paul, Adrian, have all been a testament because you've got your own challenges in every position. And as a family, Christine, absolutely excellent. Now, this is just one of our BB Shop pods to introduce individuals we've seen daily, and Christine is one of those individuals that some stories shouldn't be lost to the pages of time. They should be told, and this is one of them that should be told and inspire others in terms of thinking that you can make a difference, because Christine has. So thank you, Christine. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And appreciate your time, Mega. I should add some tissues. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
Yeah, I didn't know you were going to get emotional.
No.
But when it's an emotional job, an emotional place to be, that's what it is, you see, yeah? So just follow, subscribe, comment, and we'll bring you some more content. Thank you. Look, this is take 2 as well. So we were just about to go, weren't we, Christine?
Yeah.
And she was just reminiscing about some of the
antics.
So some of the individuals you've had. So the one with Mr. Dale at school. So what happened there, Christine?
We had this boy. He originally came from Emsworth, and he came round to Aspinall in school one day. Decided to do a moonie just outside the fence. So I got called to go round. I went round, and then it was having a bit of, not a meltdown, but it was just like having a bit of a do. So there were Mr. Dale, our Paul, me, and our Paul's friend. We both got a limb each, one at each side and one each leg. We basically carried him round Lime Tree back to our house, and I'm saying, you know, you're embarrassing yourself, but you're not just embarrassing yourself, you're embarrassing me, because these people know me, and it don't look very good, does it, when I'm bringing you around home? And just took him out, said, go upstairs, get changed, and he was fine. But this particular person, our child as he was then, he wanted to go home, and he lived at Emsworth, so he used to set off and go to where the co-op is at Ackworth. And when he got there was a house across the road and it had trees in, and we once went to pick him up and we knew where he was going, back to his mum's, and he was climbing up this tree, and this fella says, oh, you looking for little lad? I said, yeah. He says, oh, he's up that tree. I says, all right. So he came down, brought him home, never batted an eyelid. He just came in and, right, go upstairs, get changed, we'll have some tea, and he was fine. But he just wanted to go home, this particular person, and he never made any fuss about anything. He would just, right, what have you done that for? Don't know. Well, go get James, we'll have us tea. And the issue was finished with.
And the other one as well, the one that David idolised.
Oh, so. Yeah, David, yeah. The first one we had, it was a respite, and he was autistic. He was only 3. And we had him on respite for his mum. And our David, he's not very, he is kiddie orientated, but he's not always orientated. But he thought this little lad were great, and he used to stand in front of telly, this little boy, and David used to say, come on, move out of telly, and he'd stand there. Because of his understanding and his autism, he wasn't able to understand what David was saying, move out of the telly. So, and he would say, come on, move, and then he did. But David is, on this particular little boy, they used to have filofaxes, and David put this little boy's name in his filofax. So to me, the first one that we had meant a lot to David, even though he didn't communicate very well, because he wasn't non-verbal, but he wasn't at the stage where he was talking like an adult, well, like a child, and saying a lot of vocabulary. But David actually put his name in his filofax, and he's still got that filofax with his name in.
It just shows that how people leave an imprint on you, even if they've been there a short while or a long while. They've all meant a lot to you see, Christine. Yeah. So thank you for being Pontefract's mum, I'd say. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay.